Hello everyone and welcome to Papercrafting Playdate. My name is Robin Armbrecht at Really Robin Stamps, and I am so happy that you are joining me. Today is May 12th, 2023, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to learn about, play with paper, right? It's so much fun. So what we're going to do today, this is episode 90, by the way. We are going to kind of talk through how I break in a new bundle, and hopefully my goal is that it'll help you when you get something brand new or you have something on your shelf that's been sitting for a while that you need to get out and play with. I'm just going to take you through my process, and then we're going to do a stamped one sheet wonder, which is one of my very favorite things to do. So should we get started? Let's take a look at the stamping table, and I'm going to make sure that I see the comments, which I do. Yay. And I have some cards to share. So while you're getting on and joining us, please say hi to your stamping friends. Hello, Sanal. Hello, Cheryl. Hello from Utah. Excellent. I'm so excited to see everybody here. Kansas. Hello. Hi, Becky. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Debbie. Thank you all for being here. Let's take a look at some beautiful cards that I've received. Look at this gorgeous thank you card. This is from Susan. She made this beautiful monochromatic card. I love monochromatic. So pretty. This is our Misty Moonlight distinctive image. I think this is an older flower. So beautiful how you get that definition just by inking it and stamping it one time. Thank you, Susan. And this card is from Sandy. She's one of our butterfly friends, team members. Look at this fun card. It's a spanner card. So it kind of stands up like that, and it has like two flaps to open. Isn't that so cool? I think I'm gonna have to make this a play date, Sandy. I haven't actually made, I think I've made one of these once. But it's been a while. Need to revisit that. And then this adorable little quilty card is from Holly. Thank you so much. Look how precious those little squares are. And then it's all quilted together with some butterflies. It's so beautiful, Holly. Thank you so much. And then this is also from a butterfly friend. This is from Mimi. This is gorgeous. Mimi, I'll have to put a little link on Facebook. You have to go follow Mimi on Instagram. She just started Instagram, and she is finding designs. She's finding card designs based on like style, like clothing and decor, and she's taking the elements that she sees and she's putting them into cards. It's fascinating. You have to go and see that. So she's using our, I think it's lemon lime twist with some starry sky. Gorgeous color combination. Look at this fun. She shredded the ribbon and made this fun fringe. Isn't that awesome? I love it. And this is from Wanda. Got a Happy Mother's Day card with the butterflies. Love it so much, Wanda. So precious. Got all those good things coming on. And then this is from Nereda, and it's also a Mother's Day card, and she made a little easel card. Isn't that cute? So perfect to display, and she used last month's paper pumpkin, which is gorgeous. So thank you for that happy mail. I love it. Very, very, very fun to get those things in the mailbox, right? So don't forget, you gotta send the cards you make, right? Okay, let me just look and make sure. Okay, looks like we're good. So let's get started. So it's the start of a brand new catalog. we're only a week in of a brand new catalog. And so this is appropriate for me, and I hope it's appropriate for you. But sometimes when there's a bunch of new things, or you place an order, or you end up getting some new things to play with, it can be a little overwhelming. I know it is for me, even though I've broken in a lot of stamp sets over the years. It still is a lot. So I kind of have developed over the years a little process for how I like to break in a stamp set. And so I just thought I would kind of walk you through that process a little bit. And so I still have basically like 4 bundles that are new to me from the new catalog. And the rest of the things that I ordered new are coming, of course, tomorrow. But that's okay, because this is good for me to like remind myself like how I want to dive into each new bundle, because you can't play with everything all at once, right? And then sometimes, like I said, you have things that you purchased and then maybe it seemed like, oh, there's a lot of pieces in those dies, or there's a lot of images, I'm not sure how they go together. And so you end up not pulling it out right away because you think, maybe you don't have the time to do it. So hopefully this will help. You'll want to go grab some things and make yourself some reference sheets. Okay, so when we break in a new bundle, and when I say we, I mean me, this is my process, and here's what I recommend. So the first thing you have to do is you have to do your homework. So I am using the Beautiful Balloons bundle to start off here today. And it's the very first bundle in the catalog on pages 14 and 15. So it's actually part of a suite called Bright and Beautiful, but the stamp set and the dies are called Beautiful Balloons. So I'm not going to talk about the paper at all. I'm just purely talking about how do you like dive in and figure out a stamp set and dies. So the very first thing that you might find helpful to do is to just what I call is do your homework. And I love calling it homework because it sounds like an assignment that you need to do, right? You need to prioritize it. And that helps me. Plus, I have a little bit of that teacher in me. So I like to assign homework, and I like it when the homework's kind of fun. So this is definitely the good kind of homework, right? Anybody else relate to that at all? So the first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out what are all the pieces that you have. And so you need to take a look at the stamps and the dies and take the time to stamp them all and cut them all out. And you don't have to make anything pretty, just pick some colors and then take the time to use the images, okay, and cut out all the dies. So with this one, this has a lot of pieces, and for me, this is like, oh, I kind of know what to do with some of those. Some of them I'm like, I don't know what exactly is going on. So this is my process. So once I've done this, you'll be amazed when you cut them all out. It kind of gets stored in your memory, so that the next time you go to do it, you have kind of a little bit of a memory for what you have done. So this particular die set has stamps for 3 different size balloons right here, a small, medium, and large balloon. And then there's a die to cut those out. And then there's 2 balloons that just cut out, there's 2 dies that just cut out the balloons like with paper. So that's what these 2 are here. So that's kind of nice. And then there's this great balloon background stamp. That's this one right here that you can layer with the stamped image, or you can put on these plain ones to give it a little bit of confetti look, or you can use it as a background. Okay, so these are the things that you start to discover. Then there's a cluster of balloons that can get die cut, and then you can stamp on it, or you can leave it, or you can make a fun little window that looks like the shapes of balloons. There's a sample of that in the catalog, so that's really cool. So those are the balloons. And then there are these fun little ribbon strings. One is stamped, and that can be die cut. And then one is just with cardstock. Okay, so once you have this reference sheet, it is helpful because you've got the sizes for everything, and you kind of know where you're heading. Then you also have a tag. And so I always recommend, if there's a tag or a like a label, that you go ahead and write down the measurements on your reference sheet, so that you know like what is the size that you need. Let's say if you're going to put paper behind it, or what size do you need to cut your paper so that you can cut out that tag. That way you don't have to measure it over and over again. So this die also comes with, or this die set also comes with this particular die that makes fringe. And so I did a sample of that. It cuts out a 6-inch piece of fringe. So that's kind of nice to know for, you'll know that it can go all the way across a card front, and then a little bit extra. And then let's see, all that's left are the greetings. So I stamped all the greetings so I could see what they look like. Sometimes what you see on the front of a stamp kit is the exact same size as the images, but then sometimes they don't all fit. So like this one is only 85%. And so when you actually stamp it, you get a little bit more of an accurate, not a little bit, but you get an accurate view of how large those are. There's this fun little twisty piece here, which I've been looking at, and it just occurred to me today that that was the, now I can't think of the name of it, streamers. Those are streamers. I don't know what I thought they were. It's a gorgeous little image, but there's streamers. Then there's a die right here that cuts out tiny little confetti so that you could attach that to your balloons, or to the tag, or to a background, or you could make a shaker card. And then, just to throw in an extra bonus, there are 2 sizes of star dies that you can cut out. And so that is really exciting. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh good, a birthday set. I've been wanting a good birthday set, but the more that I'm playing with that, this is just like a great celebration stamp set that is great for not just birthdays, but for all kinds of things. So now that you did your homework, right? I did my homework, and while I was doing that homework, that gave me some ideas. So that's the other benefit of making yourself a reference sheet, is that you can start to get your creative juices flowing. So I noticed on this tag here that with the little confetti cut out on the corners, that it kind of made an oval in the middle. So then I thought, oh, what else do I have that's an oval? And I got out the double oval punch and tried that, and that little layer fits really perfectly right inside that tag. So that's a fun little add-on to kind of keep with this reference sheet, so that I know what else goes together. Okay, so now that you've got your reference sheet done, the next thing that I recommend you doing is taking each stamped image kind of one by one and using them as a background. So just get out some paper to play with, and really that's all you're doing. You're just playing with things. So I took the largest stamped balloon, and then I just stamped a background over and over with blueberry bushel. And just practiced stamping with it. Okay, so depending on the surface area of your image and whether it's photopolymer or red rubber, you're going to work with those things a little bit differently. And then when you throw in like how inky your ink pad is, that will affect, you know, how some solid images stamp. So it's fun to just stamp this. And I stamped it once, and then a second time, and then a third time before re-inking. So I've got all those different colors with that blueberry bushel. And then I created a focal point. So you want to make backgrounds, and then you kind of go back and you make focal points. So when I made this card, all I did was the background first, okay? Then I wanted to try just words as the background. So I love to take the words that are in a stamp set and create backgrounds with them. Tone on tone, you know, monochromatic, just whatever you kind of are inspired to use, but use those as a background. I feel like my lighting is a little off today. Let me just see if that helps at all. Maybe. So this this particular set of balloons, I felt lent itself to doing some masking too. Okay, so once I started stamping them and I realized, oh, I want to put some, right, showing them layered, kind of like this die here, but I wanted to do that with stamping. And so I took the time to cut out the masking papers and I stuck them in here so that I could use them over and over again and do some masking techniques so they're ready for next time. This one has, let's see if you can see. Where's my light? I don't know if that's very good. Anyway, I embossed in black to make that stand out, the little streamers and the words. So along the way here, already just 2 cards in, I figured out that almost every greeting will fit inside the balloons. So it's designed really, really well. And then here's the tone on tone that I'm talking about. This is Melon Mambo ink with Melon Mambo cardstock. And I just did the streamers and then the background and then went back with a little confetti. What I really like and discovered about the words is that they have this kind of scripty slant to them. And so they look good if you stamp them straight, like this happy birthday here, but they also look really good if you turn it so that they're just kind of going at a little bit at an angle. So they're really, really flexible, which is really, really nice. Okay, does this make sense? I'm not sure if I'm making sense. So leave me a comment. Does it help you at all? So you kind of take each image in the stamp, use it as a background, and then do the reverse. Then take each image and try to make a focal point out of it. And in the process of doing those things, you're going to discover a whole bunch of things about your new stamp set and die set. And you might even, need to take notes on the back of your reference sheet for saying, oh, I want to try a background with stars. So that's something that popped into my head when I was making this card. Oh, I would really want to create kind of like just a straight star background with a bunch of different colors, and then try dry embossing it with an embossing folder. So as you're kind of playing with those things, getting to know them, make notes. All right, let me just show you another example, and then we're going to get to that one sheet wonder. So I took the Cheerful Daisies bundle and kind of applied this same process to that. So this is my homework that I did, where I stamped and cut out each thing in the stamp set and the die set, just to see how they could go together, what the possibilities were. And so after I did that, then I just went one at a time, and I took the pieces and made each one a focal point, and then tried a different background. Okay, so this one is just the main daisy with the stem and the leaves, and then I used the small little cluster of flowers as a beautiful little tone on tone background in the back. And then I wanted to try with the smaller medium size daisy. I wanted to stamp a background with the words. So I just put that on the square and then tried some different colors, right? So you don't always think things have to be like yellow, right, or white. Just kind of think outside the box while you're playing. I mean, sometimes as you're doing this process, you're going to create some, what I like to call usable, like, duds. That doesn't really sound right, but you know, this balloon card right here isn't my most favorite thing I've ever created. But I mean, it turned into a nice little card, but I learned from it. That's the main thing. So it's definitely a usable card. It's not my favorite card I ever made, but that's like the process of doing it. In this, what I learned from that is that I, would rather pop these up to give it a little bit more dimension. And that this background needed a little bit of separation from the focal point. So those are all really good learning things. All right, so then I wanted to try the dies with those daisies and using the half side daisy. I guess that's what you'd call it, from the side. And then I also tried making a background with the larger daisy in white, trying a different color combination. Oh, I agree. When we get to fall and we apply all the fall colors to this daisy set, is going to be amazing. So then I wanted to use the connected die cut here and just try that. And it's kind of a monochromatic card. It's just mostly lemon. But I wanted to try just sponging on those and adding color that way. This is just a little side open card here. Okay, so I kind of took each of the images and tried to make them a focal point, and just to see how they would look on a card, and then also at the same time picking different things to be backgrounds. One of the other things you can do, which is really helpful, is just trying to do kind of a collage technique, which is what I did on this last sample here. I stamped, this is very vanilla, and I stamped those flowers. I covered them up with a masking paper, and then I just covered the background with different, with the two other flowers stamped solidly. Did a little brushing. I used the greeting. So I just kind of piled it all on there. Collaging like this always turns out really nice. And then you've got those nice pops when you take the masking paper off. Okay, so these cards I just made in a row, just kind of going from one to the next. And by the time I, kind of finished with those, I felt like I was so much more informed about how to use the daisy set. And so it was a really good activity for me to do. And so I'm encouraging you to kind of follow those steps with something that maybe is new, or something that maybe you might be struggling with. If you've purchased something and you think, I don't know what to do with this. Okay, so what we're going to do next, because this is another great way to get to know all the images in your stamp set. So I am going to stand up. And we're going to bring back all the images. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. Okay. All right, so we love one-sheet wonders, right? One-sheet wonders are a great way to sit down and play and make a bunch of cards. So I have done one-sheet wonders before, and this is my very favorite one here. So this is like a stamped one-sheet wonder, okay, where you take a whole piece of paper and you stamp on it, and then you cut it up and you use it for card fronts. Okay, so this is what I'm going to call the very first basic one. There's a couple of videos that I have where I do this, and I never get tired of this. In fact, I could just it would be a great wake up, right? Just pull out a piece of cardstock and do a different one, stamped one sheet wonder every morning. It's such a great way to use color in your images. You don't have to use any dyes, you just kind of play with your stamped images. So I'm not making one like this because we've done this before. So I kind of played around with other ideas. So let me show you some other ways. So these will all be together in a PDF that you can find, so you can kind of remind yourself. So this one is the same as this one, okay? But instead of doing your stamping along these lines in what I call stamping down the middle, okay, you're just gonna stamp down one middle the long way. And then when you cut your card in half, you've got beautiful tops. Okay, so let me show you. So let's move that. So I used the Petal Park. Oh, see, I've already forgotten what this is called. I don't know which way they went. So this one is you just stamp down the middle, and then when you cut your cards apart, you get this beautiful, just kind of along the top of your cards. And this was another stamp set that I felt like I didn't get to play with enough. So this was really fun to pull this out, apply different colors to it than what I was using before, and then use the other little pieces. And so I just kind of cut apart some of those extra dies to add a little bit to it. Okay. All right. So again, with this number 2, I did the balloons like we're going to just do here. So kind of getting a little sneak peek. So this was just stamping down the middle and cutting them apart. Instead of white, I stamped on Bubble Bath to create those cards. Okay. All right, so that is number 2. Here is number 3. So this is another way you can stamp. So for this one, you stamp diagonally along this line, and then you stamp on the corners. Calling this one number 3. Oh, you're so right, Sherry. It is so relaxing. That's exactly right. It's very peaceful. So this, again, was with the birthday stamp set. I know I'm not going to get this one put back together the right way, but I don't know how this worked. This was this one. So these are all ready to go. They just have to be made into cards and plop another greeting on the front. Okay. Kind of see where I'm headed here. Throwing out some ideas. Okay, so here's the one we're going to do today. This is, I'm calling One Sheet Wonder number 4. And so this one you can cut up in a bunch of different ways. So let's do a little bit measuring so you can see how I'm putting this one together. All right, so this one, you're going to measure in, let's do this, there we go, 2 inches. So you're kind of keeping your 8.5 by 11 in the landscape position. And you're going to measure in 2 inches from each top right and bottom left corner. Like that. And then you're going to connect them. So I'm going to draw with pencil because it'll erase later. I'm just going to do it really, really lightly. So hopefully you can see that. And then you're going to measure in from the other corner 4 inches and 4 inches. 4 inches and 4 inches. Okay, and then you're going to measure this way 3 inches. So down 3 inches. And once you do this one time, and of course use the pattern, it won't seem confusing. So now I'm going to connect these two and these two. Okay, so you've got one going this way and then you've got two going this way. Kind of makes it interesting. Now you can definitely just wing this. You don't have to put the pencil marks on there, but it helps a little bit, especially the first time, to figure out where exactly are you supposed to be stamping. Okay, I'm going to move this up a little bit more so I don't keep going off the camera. There we go. Okay, so when you're creating this one sheet wonder where you're stamping, you kind of want to cluster the things close together, and it's much easier if you work from the largest image to the smallest image, because that will allow you to fill in where things are missing. So I'm going to pick out all these gorgeous purples and pinks. So look at that. That's fun right there. So I've got the new Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia. These guys are our best friends. Gorgeous Grape, Starry Sky, and Orchid Oasis. So we're going to do purples and pinks. I'm going to separate Starry Sky and Orchid because they look the same when they're open. Okay, so the two largest images in this particular beautiful balloon stamp set are these two. So I'm going to do the streamers first, and I'm going to do them in the lightest color, which is the Bubble Bath, because I kind of want to just set the space. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp each time twice so that I get two versions of this beautiful color. So I'm just going to use those lines as a guide. So I went that way. Now I'm going to go this way. Stamping each time twice. This one over here. Most of this will get covered up, but it's nice to have it in the background. Okay, I'm going to finish this one right here, like that. Okay. So you could even at this point, you could take a blending brush and just kind of like put those colors, you know, kind of just make that path even a little bit more. So now the next biggest one is this balloon. And so I'm going to take Orchid Oasis. That's going to be my balloon color. to use my Pierce mat to stamp on, since this is photopolymer. All right, so I want to make sure where these lines intersect, that's kind of where we're going to start with the largest balloon. And every time we stamp it, we're going to just make sure it's going in a different direction. I'm going to put one at the end here where these lines kind of go off the edge of the paper. Okay, we can always add more, but you can't take away. I love how, I don't know if you can see this, how the pink just kind of shows up as a little highlight behind those balloons, which is really cool because like at a real balloon, you can kind of see through it, right? All right, so the next largest is this medium size, and we'll do this in Fresh Freesia. And so I want to make sure that I am kind of overlapping and getting right next to the first balloon. And I'm just still kind of using these lines as a guide. Whoops, wrong color. Okay. All right, so then the next kind of largest one I want to make sure that I don't miss out on is this nice little rounded "Let's Get Our Celebration On." And I'm going to stamp that around these bigger balloons. So I'm going to use Starry Sky. Keeps bending on me a little bit here. I have too many ink pads out. Okay. All right, let's see if I can go. So what I just did was I accidentally re-inked in my Fresh Freesia instead of Starry Sky, which is unfortunate. So this one, that's why this one looks kind of a funny color. And that one will have a little shadow. Actually, it looks really cool. Okay, let me clean that. So if this happens on a lighter ink pad, you just blot out that color. That was the accident. Paper towel works a little bit better. or if you have an old rag. So I'm just kind of right where that darker color is. Like that. And then I go back with my re-inker and I just work some new color into that spot. And that'll help that darker color to kind of dissipate so you can't even see it anymore. So Lemon Lolly is like one of my new favorite colors, and I know this is going to happen because it always happens on yellow, but you get a dark blue or you get black in there. See, I already have a little tiny bit right there, but that's how you fix that when that comes up. And then the other thing, once I re-ink like this, you can kind of see there's lines where the ink went in there, just to make sure it's smooth. I take the rounded edge of my block and very gently in two directions, I just kind of move that ink around a little bit. This also works well if your ink pad, sometimes when you first get them, they're really, really full of ink and they seem like they almost have too much ink. So that's how you can also kind of, you know, just kind of press that color, make it more even. Okay. So we did those words. So now what we're going to do is do this next largest image, which really what's left are the small ones. So we're just going to fill in. We're just going to fill in with all of these smaller images. All right, so I'm going to take a Gorgeous Grape for my smallest balloon. He's so cute. Let's see. Put one there. I did it again. Too many beautiful purples. Okay, so once I've done that, now I'm going to put the little strings on the balloons just to make sure that I have room for all of those. So let's do the little cluster of strings first. And we're going to put that on our Fresh Freesia balloon. We'll add a little bit more of the Orchid Oasis. Okay, and then we'll take our Starry Sky for our balloons that are Gorgeous Grape. then this looks fun to just add some of these in, coming off of the edge. And then on our largest balloon, we'll add pink for the streamers. Okay, so you can see how the colors are kind of all coming together. And now with all the tiny little pieces that are left, we're going to add our confetti. So let's add some more of this gorgeous grape, and we'll just tuck it around all of these images, in and out. Okay, and then there's two confettis in the stamp set, which is so much fun. So we'll use the other one. What color? I think I want Fresh Freesia. I'm going to put it right in front of me. So we're just filling in all that little bit of white space to kind of fill out those paths. Love it. Very soothing. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this little Yay You, and I'm going to stamp that on some of the balloons. So I'm going to use the Starry Sky. I'm just making sure the words go in the direction of the balloon. Okay, I like that. And then we have this little row of stars. I think we'll do this in the orchid. We'll just stamp that randomly around. All right, super therapeutic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is erase my lines that you can still see. Most of them are invisible at this point. And then I'm going to take the Fresh Freesia, and I'm just going to kind of follow the path. Boy, I didn't stamp anything down here, did I? I think I just missed this spot. Hold on. Too distracted. Apologize. And our string. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to, around the white space, add a little bit of Fresh Freesia. And this is just kind of tying everything together. And you'll see when we cut it apart, it'll look a little bit more cohesive because of the color kind of behind it. Kind of helps group it all together. So if you notice the messages here, it says, let's get our celebration on, yay you. Like, that's literally, you can use this for anything. Somebody got a new job, somebody graduated, somebody accomplished a goal they were trying to achieve. How exciting, right? Or it can absolutely be your birthday. That's what I really like about this. Okay. I'm doing one more. I feel like I kind of missed that corner there. There. Okay. Let's put the ink pads away. Take this away too, because now it's time to cut it up. And what's fun is you can do it different ways. So I saw somebody do this and I thought it was brilliant. They actually used just little transparency sheets, but I had this older vellum that's really thin. I don't really use it for card making anymore, and so I'm using vellum. And so I just made a sheet of vellum, and to show, this would be where I would cut it, right? And so you can see by putting this on top what is going to be in each section. Okay, and with this design, what you get is you get two pieces that kind of have this kind of diagonal triangle cluster, and then you get two pieces that have like opposite corners. Isn't that cool? Okay, so this is just cutting it in half at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is actually what we're going to do. But there's some other versions just so you can see. So this would be cutting it at 4 1/4 and then every 2 3/4. So it's basically just taking this, the fourths, and adding 2 more cuts. So you can make 8 card fronts. Okay, so you can see what's going to be in each little section. Or you can divide it this way. So basically it's the same as this, except instead of cutting this way, you're cutting in half this way. So this is 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. And so you would get some longer strips that would have a little piece of each of the designs in it, right? How fun is that? So I encourage you to make some templates if you're going to get into doing these. So let's just do, we're just going to cut it into 4s. So I'm going to cut it 5 1/2. And then I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4. And so now I have these pieces, and you can kind of just figure out which way, based on the wording or the angle of the balloons, is going to be the best, you know, orientation for your card. I did not trim my white down first. I left it 8 1/2 by 11. So that means if I want to put it on a card front and have it mounted, I have to do some trimming. So for each one, you're just going to take off like 3/8 of an inch. So just pick the two sides that are, that's too much. There we go. Like that. So that will fit on a trimmed quarter. So I've got Starry Sky to do the backing in. And then we'll put it on Orchid Oasis card base, since that's the color of our biggest balloon. So the way this one turned out right here, oh, I love that idea. Yeah, thanks, Tony. Like she said, use the little cutoff bits so you can put them inside if you want to decorate the inside when you add your little white piece. For this one, barely needs anything, right? I feel like this kind of says everything. You could just put a little bit of ribbon on there. But I did cut out then some of those other balloons, so you could kind of find a spot if you wanted to add a couple more balloons, or you could just pick a nice little white greeting and put your greeting label, and then put your greeting on that label to just kind of give it a little accent. So let's trim one of these. We'll put two different versions here together, and then I have some other samples to show you. I love this one when it's in the corners like that. Looks so pretty. So definitely leave a comment in about one sheet wonders, especially stamped one sheet wonders, and let us know what you think about them. And if you've tried them before, and if there is a stamp set that you need to go work on. So I'm going to take some of the Starry Sky. I'm going to slant that happy birthday. Look how cute that is. And then we'll pop it up on the front. This will look cute this way too. I'm going to do it this way. And then we'll just add some pretty little ribbons. This goes with the Orchid Opulence. Not Orchid Opulence. That is an old color. I always want to call it Orchid Opulence. Orchid Oasis. Add some pretty little ribbons, little strings to the balloons. Okay, with a glue dot, we'll just crunch up that glue dot to make it the size of the knot. All right, we've got our two little versions there with the little ribbons, very cute. And then we can add some bling. So you get the idea. I'm not going to put all 4 of these cards together on the video, but I will be finishing them and posting them. But I think that turns out so fun. And going along with our theme of just playing with new bundles, it's a great way to practice with your stamped images, right? Okay, so I have a couple more samples. So these did not get into cards yet. Wonder if I can put these together. So this was the pattern number 3, where it's just 3 diagonals like that. And so just took those little zoo critters and stamped them, and then brushed over them with the blending brush, and then ran them through an embossing folder. Okay, so these are ready to go. I just need to plop a greeting on there. So once you get started in this, you're going to be like me. You're like, oh, I want to try it with this stamp set. And then it makes you go to the next one. And then I tried it with some crumb cake. And this design was the one that I just did. This version here, the One Sheet Wonder number 4. Okay, and so I used some new colors with Coastal Cabana and embossing, so it just gives it a different look to have, you know, it be on the crumb cake instead of white. And then I'm showing you all out of order here. So this was the version. So I did what I just did before, okay, what I literally just did, but instead of cutting it into 4ths, I cut it into the 8ths, okay, so that you have these little smaller focal points, and that's what this finished card would look like versus the bigger piece, okay. I've got lots of cards to finish, can you tell? And then also you can do this technique on designer series paper. And so I took a full 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper. This is the back side, and was able to cut this into 6 full card fronts. And this is actually a wreath pattern, which is going to have to be a whole nother video because it's so much fun. But here's a sneak peek at what those are going to look like. And this was just the best, doing this all week long. All right, so I have 2 questions for you. One, do you have a stamp set that you need to figure out or play with again in a new way? Okay. And 2, what are you waiting for? Go and grab a stamp set and do your homework. Figure out your die situation, but then dive in with some colors and try one of these 4 templates to just do some stamping and cut up and make some cards. And I think it'll be very relaxing for you and super enjoyable. Let's see. I'll put those back up there too. isn't it fun when you see some new colors like the azure afternoon and the bubble bath? It just kind of like reinvigorates that whole color, right? The whole color collection. It just makes it the berry burst, like it just kind of makes it all seem fresh again, which I guess is why it's called a color refresh, right? All right, you guys, thank you so much for being patient with my process here, but I hope that maybe you can take one or two things away, and when you're thinking about how to create with the things that you have in your stash, maybe just look at them a little bit differently and see if you can come up with some things that are different for a brand new stamp set or one that's been sitting on your shelf for a while. So I'm going to just read my comments here. But thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. What is your favorite? Kathy likes the blues and purples. Yes, me too. Cheryl, you're right. Yeah. I didn't even mention the gift set, but you're absolutely right. Cheryl says this makes a great gift set. If you do a bunch of these, then you can, especially if you put some different greetings on them, then you have great little gift sets. Good. Sue's going to find a stamp set. I bet you have one or two stamp sets that you can use this with, right? So sorry about YouTube Live quit today, but thank you so much for sticking with me. Love the purples. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time always. And come find the PDF on the blog post and get busy creating. That's what I want you to do. So thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you next time.